Goldman Sachs is an expansive financial services company. Many clients are institutional, private companies and government organizations wanting to raise cash seek Goldman's help in packaging and then selling stock or bonds. On the other side, private investors, wealthy individuals wanting to multiply their riches, receive a hearty welcome at Goldman because they have the cash to purchase those stocks and bonds. Ultimately, Goldman Sachs is a hub where large companies, governmental powers, and wealthy people come and do business together.
The culture of Wall Street has always been a source of popular fascination, in part due to its stratospheric pay, a subject of both envy and revulsion. At Goldman Sachs, CEO Lloyd Blankfein took home more than $67 million in total compensation.
Executives at Goldman Sachs are among the world's highest paid. According to a New York Times article, at the center of Goldman's lucrative compensation program is the partnership. Goldman's partners are its highest executives and its biggest stars. Yet while Goldman is required to report compensation for its top officers, it releases very little information about this broader group, remaining tight-lipped about even basic information like who is currently a partner. The rest of the article investigates this shadowy partnership. The conclusions: Goldman has almost 860 current and former partners. In the last 12 years, they have cashed out more than $20 billion in Goldman shares and currently hold more than $10 billion in Goldman stock. This tally of accumulated wealth in Goldman stock doesn't even include the standard salary and cash bonuses the partners receive, but leaving that aside, here's the math: $30 billion divided by 860 divided by 12 should give some sense of the wealth each of these corporate stars is accumulating over the course of a year. To give a provisional idea of how large the number of dollars is here, when you try plugging $30 billion into an iPhone calculator, you find the screen can't even hold a number that long. Using a different calculator yields this result: $2.9 million per partner every year. The $2.9 million can be compared with the salary earned by the average American, $50,000 a year. The Goldman partner gets that in less than a week. This huge money explains the clawing fight that goes on inside Goldman to become a partner. The odds are long. Each time the books are open to admit a new class, only one of 330 Goldman employees make the cut. It is, in the words of one former partner, a very Darwinian survival of the fittest firm.
Bob Rubin had a great line that he said to our training classes: your goal is not to get fired. That if you can just figure out a way to stay in your seat and do a good job, well, lo and behold, you're going to be rich. We arrive at the meeting at 5 p.m. It's the Friday before the Memorial Day 3-day weekend. And guess what? We are sitting there waiting. A couple guys left. Okay, when the guy showed up at 10 o'clock, 5 hours late, he passed around an attendance sheet. And he said, the lesson today is about waiting for people that are more important than you. And he said, someday there'll be a billionaire you need to get to. He's going to make you wait in his lobby. Okay, you need to be conditioned for that. And then he got up and he left.
And what happened to those new hires who left early? Scaramucci says they were promptly fired. Stories like that only reinforced Goldman's mystique as a tightly knit culture of extraordinarily driven professionals.
You don't really have clients anymore. You just have people that you trade with. Never mind the relationships. They need us, we need them. It's business.
It is Goldman's aggressive trading culture that has recently come under close scrutiny. Goldman marketed the Abacus deal without telling investors that the securities they were buying were chosen in part by a client who believed those securities would fail. When they did crumble, that client, hedge fund manager John Paulson, netted $1 billion.
In the public comments section of the New York Times story about Goldman, a person identified as GHP picks up on the firm's characterization as a Darwinian survival of the fittest place. He wrote, "The French Revolution was also very Darwinian, let's give that a try." During the French Revolution, the wealthy and powerful were rewarded with a trip to the guillotine. Probably, GHP isn't just annoyed about how much money executives at Goldman make. He, like a lot of people, is peeved by the fact that the company was bailed out by the federal government during the 2008-09 financial crisis. Had the taxpayers, people making $50,000, not kicked in, Goldman might have gone bankrupt, and all that money its partners accumulated in stock would have vanished. As it happens, the U.S. government's bailout was masterminded by U.S. Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson. His previous job was CEO and partner at Goldman.
People who are partners at Goldman Sachs would always say, look, we're not the Girl Guides. This is not a campfire. This is not a happy campers group. We are here to do a really thunderbolt job of building a firm that makes a lot of money. And they expect to be very well paid. They'd be offended if they weren't well paid. But that isn't as important to them as being partner in an emotional, spiritual, human way. Now, they'll all deny that, and they'll all say, look, I'm here to make a lot of money. And they are. But the money is a metric. And among all the different metrics, the most important one is the designation. We want you to be one of us at the very top level, and our way of saying that is we call you partner.